Around 1913, a Moor of the same hue in which I mentioned, dark-skinned, broad-nosed, and thick-lipped, came forward to articulate the absentee of identity for this population of people in the Western Hemisphere. The English-speaking Moors, men stood up and said he was a prophet. And he said it without credentials. And there was no academia to verify it. There was no literature to prove it. By the same token, any prophet who stood up, there was nothing to verify his statement of prophetichood. Around 1913, a Moor, dark-skinned, broad-nosed, and thick-lipped, came forward. Men stood up and said he was a prophet. He was a prophet. The prophet has a relationship with one, and that is his Lord. And his Lord alone is responsible for what he is given to do and the power to get it done. Noble Drew Ali reached some or near that pinnacle before he was betrayed. No prophet comes forward of his own volition and proceeds to unravel the knowledge given him and then dissipates in the midst of his work. Noble Drew Ali did not finish his work. Around 1913, a Moor, dark-skinned, broad-nosed, and thick-lipped, came forward. Men stood up and said he was a prophet. He was a prophet. Missing the complete message of the highest language on planet Earth as given to this man by the Creator to signify to a people lost in the wilderness of North America. He wasn't an intellectual. The man was wise. And a wise man doesn't speak much. He lets his truth speak for him. Some of the most brilliant black men of our time walked past that man and intellectually refused to acknowledge him because he was not a scholar, because he was not a highfalutin Negro preacher. They just simply walked past him, you see, because they were looking for Jesus. Hear me clear. If you want to know why they missed him, and that they missed him is a fact of our history, they walked right past that man and refused to acknowledge him. The poor acknowledged him because he fed them and healed them. Around 1913, a Moor, dark-skinned, broad-nosed, and thick-lipped, came forward. Men stood up and said he was a prophet. He was a prophet. So years later, a few smart men, inspired from within themselves, and that's the same statement as saying they were inspired by God, to go find out what Noble Drew Ali was talking about. Elijah Poole Bay was one of those smart men. As uneducated as he was, he got up off his behind and went and found Noble Drew Ali and became Elijah Poole Bay, which was his jump and running start, until Pharaoh came along. Around 1913, a Moor, dark-skinned, broad-nosed, and thick-lipped, came forward. Men stood up and said He was a prophet. He was a prophet to articulate the absentee of identity.
Honorable Elijah Muhammad loved and bid his followers to respect and honor Noble Drew Ali as the forerunners to what we are doing right now.
Around 1913 or more, dark-skinned, broad-nosed, and thick-lipped came forward. Men stood up and said, he was a prophet. He was a prophet.
Noble Drew Ali, I salute my brother. He's the first man to bring Islam to us in the way he tried to bring it. And I thank him, thank Allah for him.